Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Well, I don't know, you know, but the basic training for the Army, like, they lower the standards.
They have, so has everybody. You know why? Which I don't agree, because we've been in Afghanistan and Iraq so much constant deployment from the same troops that nobody wants to join. All right. So now I understand that, instead of 12 weeks, now it's 8. Now the training is not as hard. I know that the Marine Corps still does the same thing, but now both branches, because you are in infantry, you're going to go into combat. That's where you're going to go. Remember, Marine Corps and Army are fighting units. Air Force is technical, so is the Navy. But if you want to go into the show, you join the Army or the Marine Corps. You want to do your own thing, you join Special Ops. But now I understand they're letting the felons in with misdemeanors, and that to me is no good. But it's a volunteer army, you know, which I have to say that is volunteer army is, you know, they deserve a lot of the credit because they're not being forced to join. They want to do it for whatever reason. Could be economics, could be that I do want to play soldier, all right, but they volunteer to go in. You end up in Iraq and Afghanistan, they did that. So never fault the soldiers, the Marines, the airmen, or the sailors. Fault the government if you wish. But when they come back, you give them that little, that's my opinion, you give them that little respect because they're there fighting. And I may not be for communism or anything else, like back in the old days, communism is now, you know, very, I think there's only one country that's still communist, which is Cuba, right? And everybody else in Iraq, regardless of politics, you know, the soldiers that are there deserve your appreciation and respect because they were told to go there. So just keep that in mind. If you have uncles, my heroes were the World War II guys, you know, because they gave me the freedom of, we'd be talking German right now, or Japanese. So they kept that at bay. The Korean vets, Korea, of course, the unforgotten war, the first one. Vietnam, the lost war. We never lost a war. Young men and women, we never lost a battle. The war was lost by the politicians. I ended my presentation that if they had allowed us to do the job we were supposed to do and cross into Hanoi and take care of business, it would still be north and south, just like it is in Korea. But just that we were playing this Mickey Mouse games, chess games. And soldiers are not prepared for that. Never send your army and play games. Send them to do what they're supposed to do. Special ops people that are, my son was telling me that they go into the Muslims. Go in there, but of course it's not reported. If you want to join the special ops community for glory, you know, for medals and things, you're not going to get them. I had an experience where you get, after the raids and so forth, they bring you up on the battalion level and they present you your medals. Thank you and so forth. And then after that, give them back to me because you were never there. So if you're going into for the glory, it'll never happen. And I've had several that say, no, all I want is the glory. You don't belong there because you're going to get people hurt. So just to bear into my lesson pain. Any questions? Yes, sir.
So you talked a little bit in the couple other classes about how you guys were treated when you came back home.
Oh, back then it was, like I said, the 1960s, all right? The country was split after Kent State in '71 and so forth. Should we be there? We were labeled as baby killers, you know, dope addicts, heroin addicts. So when most of us were coming back, I relayed them the story that I landed at Travis Air Force Base, and they told us to, in uniform, they told us to change uniform and get into civilian clothes because they had protesters outside. And this was the day of the hippies. And we're saying, well, hey man, you just made us cut our hair. So you think they're not going to recognize that we're in the service? But anyway, when we get out there, they were throwing dog poo at us. You know, calling us baby killers, go home. That was my experience to them. It was a real wake-up call. And I had heard that that's what's happening, but I couldn't believe it. But that's what happened. The plaque that we have outside, if you never noticed it, it's there. We have 28 men from Brownsville High School. One of them was my cousin, Ramiro Salinas. He was there a couple of months before I got there. But his mother said, you know, take care of him and bring him home. He was also assigned to the 101st Airborne Division. But we were in different choppers, and his got shut down. So unfortunately, he didn't come back. But when I brought him home, people were saying that we're glad that he's dead. And that's here in Brownsville. Not in New York, not anywhere else. Here in Brownsville, I'm glad he's dead. That's what he deserved. You don't tell that to your mother. And you didn't tell that to me. That's why it's important that, you know, these men and women that are coming back, even if they come back home, you know, in a casket, you never say that to their parents, because it's not their fault. It's not fault. And it's very hard to do that, because the attitude that was there is just simply that Vietnam was, you know, a waste of time. I mean, I can't get over this, but no, we just go and do what we got to do. But it was an eye-opener. It was a very eye-opener. Even my own family didn't pick me up at the airport when I came in. They left me there and I had to take a taxi. And when I got home, they told me, I told them, did you forget about me? He said, no, it's because we know you were coming home in a uniform. And we didn't want to be associated with the fact that you were in Vietnam. And I said, whoa, wait a minute. You know, I just survived something. But they said, no, well, get out of your clothes. Get ready for tomorrow. You're going to go to work. I got you a job. I said, I need to relax. I said, no, relaxing, forget about it. Don't think about it anymore. And I said, okay. So yeah, took off the uniform, went to bed, and put it back on, rested, and I took off. Never came back until 20 years later, or 19. Never returned home. But we made peace with the family. You know, eventually, he said, I was wrong. And that was my brother. He said, I was wrong. And I said, well, I never mentioned it to you, but remember you were in Korea? But I guess he was bitter about that. Never know. But that's what happened. The attitude, did my life change? Yes. Because I grew to appreciate life. I grew to appreciate babies coming up. It gives you a different sense of values, because you know that how fragile life is, what can happen when you do something. Most of my friends were still at this level, and I grew. 1 year you grow up. Instead of thinking, and I missed the prom.